How about another hand for the Lawrence University Jazz Band? Kate Stenson on violin. There's so many things that I can say about this amazing collaboration. You're gonna see me joking like I'm joking right now, because this has been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So I wrote, there's like 10 pages of this. I am not gonna do that to you, okay? But I mean, it's been incredible. So welcome everybody here in the chapel, and the people that are watching the concert from the webcast. Our concert tonight is a very special concert. This project collaboration between the biology department and the jazz department has never come together in this capacity in the past. And I feel so honored and so excited to share this amazing concert with you all tonight. I'm gonna tell you a little story. So this first came about when Dr. Destasio sent me an email last year regarding a student in the biology department that wanted to audition to participate in ensembles in the conservatory. Isn't that beautiful? I told him to send the student my way so that I can have a conversation with him. And he also mentioned that he was getting ready for the marine biology trip to Bonaire. And my heart just like came out of my chest. I was like, oh, I told him that I used to scuba dive back in the 90s when I was living in Puerto Rico, but that I haven't done that since 2000 when I moved from Puerto Rico here to the States. So it's been 24 years without diving. And I just want to let you know that my other passion in life was to become a marine biologist. So this has been quite an experience for me. Anyways, we started meeting and having conversations about how we could make this possible. He recommended that I put together a proposal to send it to our provost to cover the marine biology terms expenses, and that I get a refresher course from PADI, which is the Professional Association of Diving Instructors. He also recommended to take a couple of courses to have a better understanding of the meaning of the trip. We also discussed the possibility of doing some research on the music of Bonaire. I never listened or experienced their music, so I welcomed the opportunity to expand my musical knowledge by studying their music and culture, to later bring it here to Lawrence University and add it to our jazz, improvisation, and music department ensembles. I got funding from Lawrence University, thank you, Provost Bryston, and the Povolny Fund to cover other expenses for the trip. This term, I also audited 2 classes, Biology 505, Coral Reef Environments, and Biology 433, that's like right here for me, right? Like ecological energetics with Dr. Destasio. So these have been, so far, again, one of the most remarkable experiences of my life. As you can see on your program, all the music that we're going to be performing tonight is related to the ocean and or water. We're also going to have students from the marine biology program presenting about their research projects. And we also going to have a section in the performance where we're going to be celebrating the music and dance of Bonaire. All these coming up, okay? Just wanted to let you know also that all the photos and the videos that you're going to see tonight were taken by the students and the faculty during the trip. But now, enough of me, okay? To talk more about the marine biology program, please welcome to the stage the Dennis and Charlotte Nelson Singleton Professor of Biological Sciences, Dr. Bart Destasio, and the Associate Professor of Biology, Dr. Brian Piasecki. Bye.
Well, good evening. Wow. As Jose just mentioned, I'm Bart Destasio from the biology department, and I'm so very grateful to be here tonight to share with you some of the fruits of this amazing collaboration between the Biology Marine Term Program and the Lawrence Jazz Band Program. I've been very fortunate to be associated with the Biology Marine Term Program, a unique sort of set of courses that Lawrence has supported for over 40 years, in fact 45 years. Only 6 or 7 schools in the country support a program like this for undergraduates. It was originally created back in 1978 and has essentially been run every other year since then. While it has included students from geology on a few occasions, this year was the first collaboration, as Jose mentioned, between the conservatory and the Biology Marine Term Program. Very exciting. Now, my predecessor here at Lawrence, Sub Richmond, was the first director of the program, and by chance, there just happened to be an opening during the second offering of the Marine Term Program when I was just a young, naive sophomore at Lawrence University as a student here. I was in his fall aquatic ecology course, and someone dropped out of the program and he said, "Bart, you want to do this program?" And I really didn't know much about it. But I convinced my parents to help me pay for the trip, and then decided to do the program. And that changed my career trajectory and my life forever, doing this program. As a result of the program, I shifted to studying both marine and freshwater ecology in graduate school. Ended up eventually back at Lawrence University after Sub Richmond retired. And then under the mentoring, the gentle mentoring of Professor Brad Rentz in the department, I became a co-director of the program. And we continued to run the program together over 15 years until his retirement. Since then, I've been very fortunate and lucky to work with Professor Ron Peck, and then now Professor Brian Piasecki from our department as co-directors, and we're continuing to provide this important program for all of our students. Now, the program is also unique in that it includes both on-campus and off-campus international components, all within a single term. Students take all of their courses as part of the term, and we spend 3 weeks on campus learning background and how to identify things underwater, and then 2 weeks on the coral reefs on a Caribbean island someplace, using scuba techniques. And then we're back for 5 weeks, and that's the time when we can actually do some data analysis, and then students prepare presentations and write papers. In just a minute, Brian will give you a little bit more information about how the details of that work. But over the years, we primarily focused on studying the diversity of corals and fish. And the program has gone to a variety of places, primarily the Cayman Islands, but also Jamaica and the Bahamas, and now Bonaire, which is part of the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, which are just off the coast of Venezuela. Now, overall, the courses give the students a theoretical understanding and also hands-on experiences of how marine systems like coral reefs have evolved, how they function, how humans interact with those resources, and then the challenges that societies are facing as human activities change these important coral reef environments. The program always focuses on assessing coral and reef fish diversity, but then the students develop their own projects and conduct their own research while on the trip and then afterwards. Now, in addition, we always ensure that the students interact with local populations on each of the islands, experiencing the traditional cultural aspects, including food and music. Now, the collaboration with Jose has really cranked that up. So it's really deepened and emphasized that aspect of the program for us. And it's highlighted that important interconnections between humans and the marine environment, as you're seeing tonight. I'm so very grateful for all of Jose's creativity and your hard work during this project, and also for the support of folks in both the conservatory and the college that have made this so very possible. In my mind, this is what a liberal arts institution should be doing: encouraging, stimulating interactions and collaborations that cross those traditional disciplinary boundaries. How fitting that at the heart of the success of coral reefs is the symbiotic collaboration of what traditionally are viewed as very different organisms, algae and the coral animals. Together, they can do amazing things, much more than they can do each on their own. There's an important lesson there for us, I think, and hopefully we can continue to learn from these systems about how to innovate and thrive. Now, Brian Piasecki will help us understand what our students typically do on these marine term programs. Thank you.
That was amazing. That's going to be hard to follow. Thank you, Bart. So I'll just say that I've been participating in the Marine Term program since 2014. It's been truly a privilege and an honor, so this was my 5th Marine Term trip. But just for a little context, I was born in 1978, which was the year the program started. I realized just what an honor, what a privilege, and what a legacy I'm participating in. And so I take this responsibility unbelievably seriously. And so working with the students, making this experience what it is for them is truly, it is the highlight of my Lawrence experience here with y'all. So thank you. Work on Bonaire follows a very similar format as to what it did when we were on Grand Cayman before I began in the program and for my first 3 trips with the program. For the first week, students work collaboratively to collect data documenting long-term changes to the reefs in the Caribbean. They primarily focus on changes to corals and fish populations. We do this by running chain transects along the corals, and we videotape that for the students to then analyze that data when we get back to Appleton. And then they're doing these roving surveys looking at different fish species and documenting that with underwater paper, underwater pens and paper that they can write on underwater. Then the second week, they really work to develop their own projects in small groups. And we work with them collaboratively to make sure that those projects are timely, relevant, that they can be accomplished, and that they, very likely could see data. They're going to tell you about those projects here shortly, so I'm not going to say a lot about them. But those sort of 2 weeks really dovetail nicely then to this sort of cohesive group of projects that when we get back, they're able to analyze their data and have a really nice paper that forms at the end, as well as some presentations. In the evening, when we're not, drying our gear, fixing something, getting ready for the next day, we really, as Bart mentioned, are trying to immerse ourselves in the local cultures and traditions. And that's also something I think is just a real highlight of the program. And so I'll just say that I think this is just a truly remarkable experience. The amount of growth that I see in our students consistently, every trip that I do is second to none. We throw this word around a lot at Lawrence. I think it can be meaningful, and I sometimes think we perhaps overuse it, but this is truly a transformative experience, and I say that hands down. And for that, I'm really thankful to get to be a part of it. I'm thankful to have Jose and Bart to have participated with it and to bring me along. So thank you so much.
Liam Berry trombone, Dylan Cobley on guitar,
as José mentioned, we'll have some short presentations now from each of the student groups, and we want you to get a feeling for the kind of projects that they're doing. As Brian mentioned, every marine term trip, we have a different set of projects that students design. It's their own decision, and then they go through the whole phase of developing the project, thinking about the right questions to ask, and then we assist them really on the trip to implement those projects. And so right now we'll hear from two of the groups. There are 4 total, so we'll hear it after the next piece. And the first group that's going to explain their project worked on a brand new topic that we haven't done ever before, and it's about fluorescence in corals. And it turns out corals are fluorescing in all different colors now. And Ellie Carruthers, Colin Hutton, and Emma Moya are going to talk about their project related to that. And then after that, we'll have a project that is talking about cleaning stations on the reef where fish are getting cleaned. And that will be by Warren Godfrey, Aidan Hewitt, Lance Giordico, and Elena McGinnis.
Hi, thank you for all you guys for coming. My name's Emma, and this is Colin, and this is Ellie, and we are the fluorescent group. And for our project, we focused on fluorescent coral, but the impact that coral bleaching has on the light intensity on fluorescent coral. And with this, we both had to dive normally twice a day, but sometimes 3 times a day, both day and night dives, and we did this by taking pictures of both day and night.
Yeah, so if you aren't familiar with coral bleaching, you're probably going to hear a lot about it, but it's kind of a phenomenon where Bart mentioned the symbiotic algae and the coral animals. It's when the coral will actually expel those algae so they become colorless and they don't meet the energy requirement they need. So what you see are these white spots on some of the things. We were wondering, like Emma said, do those white spots correlate to less fluorescence? And at least the first time we did a night dive, I don't know if you guys remember, I was maybe 30% confident that anything would work. Because we had to turn off our lights, right? To use our UV light, we had to turn off all our other lights. So once we did, we turned off the lights and we hit the button for the UV light, and suddenly it was like there was green highlighter everywhere. But actually only on certain species, so only certain species fluoresce, and we had sites of maybe 6 colonies that we had to find repeatedly and take pictures of those colonies during the day and the night, and then use imaging software to analyze. So yeah, finding those colonies at the same time at night was difficult.
On top of the tarpon coming by.
Yeah, big fish.
By, they're like huge, but it's like surprise, but.
Yeah, so we're learning a lot about kind of the health, and do you want to talk about like using the UV light for health?
Yeah, so for sure. So with the UV light, we also thought it would be a great opportunity to see it as an ecological benefit on being able to identify early signs of coral bleaching, possibly within that specific coral. Like the coral we worked on was Orbicella annularis, or even in other coral sites across Bonaire, or even across the world. So yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. As Bart said, my name is Elena, this is Lance and Warren, and we are the Fish Cleaning Station project. And what cleaning stations are areas on the reef where larger fish like parrotfish come to get cleaned by smaller fish like gobies or damselfish. And so what we wanted to do in our research is look at the positive and negative interactions at these sites, and see how those interactions affected the likelihood and frequency of the larger fish coming back to get cleaned at those stations depending on their interaction at the station. So the way we classified the positive and negative interactions was if a fish came to the station and had to wait in line, or if they got chased off by another fish, that would be a negative interaction. And if they came to the station, got cleaned right away, and then went on their way, that would be a positive interaction. And the way that we collected our data was we would go out usually twice a day and either snorkel or scuba dive, and we would find a site and then stay there for 30 minutes and videotape the whole 30 minutes. And then as we got back to campus, we have been watching those videos and looking at the different interactions that we're seeing and putting that all into a big data set, and still working on analyzing the data to look at all the trends and see what we can find. But yeah, that was our project. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that sounds very interesting to me. I just love it.
All right, we have 2 other projects that were conducted during the term. And the next one that you'll hear about is about the gut bacteria, the microbiome, and the diversity in sea anemones. And the group is made up of Anna Carden, Abby Herrick, Hannah Knutson, and Mackenzie Petty. And then you'll hear about assessments of coral disease and bleaching events at different depths and at different sites around the island of Bonaire. And that group is Marlise Alvarez, Braden Richardson, and Felix Spaniel.
Well, hi, everybody. It's so great to see so many people here that are excited about music and the ocean. My name is Mackenzie, and these are my fellow research colleagues. It's Hannah, Anna, and Abby. We had the privilege of working with Brian Piasecki on this research. So during our time in Bonaire, we spent several days talking and working through quantitative data on coral diversity on the beautiful sloping reefs on the island. Though the creatures that we were working with were absolutely stunning, we could not deny the destructive coral bleaching that was overtaking the reefs, and the other group will talk a little bit about that. But these corals were really being affected by bleaching, but also our stony coral tissue loss disease. And we had the privilege of investigating a possible underlying pathogen to this destruction. So we spent our whole second week deriving samples from the guts of countless sea anemones, which are a colorful marine invertebrate many of you may recognize as the homestead in Finding Nemo. And within this gut microbiome of the anemone, we were looking at one genus of bacteria in particular, which is called Vibrio. Several species of Vibrio have been known to cause foodborne illnesses in humans on land, but our work was intended to identify how this bacterium may be linked to a massive die-off on the coral reefs in the Caribbean and all across the world.
Vibrio coralliticus is a particular species that has been linked in previous research to coral bleaching events. Vibrio thrive within the gut mesenteries of sea anemone because they act essentially as a surrogate, allowing the bacteria to survive until it can eventually infect the coral like a parasite. Sea anemone are fantastic filter feeders since they just kind of sit and wait, and that's how they derive their energy. They use their tentacles to pull in food from their local environment, including the wide range of bacteria known to occupy these marine ecosystems. We extracted the gut contents from anemone using syringes. Then we passed those water samples through the filters that we brought with us to gather the bacterial colonies. We allowed them to grow over about a week or so in petri dishes and other liquid media until we were able to then isolate single colonies of these bacteria, and are currently in the process of running DNA diagnostics on these colonies called PCR. We're also having the privilege to be able to send off several of our filters to DNA companies to get those sequenced as well. So we have a really wide range of anemone gut that we can choose from. So the hope is to have isolated several Vibrio species variants within the guts and identify those as we go. So the more we're able to understand the bacteria, in particular anemone, they thrive in, the closer we will get as researchers to discovering the solution for these corals. Coral is the foundation of a healthy reef, and hopefully our work will further the progress of protection, allowing curious minds like me, my team, and you all to discover the boundless beauty of the underwater world.
Hello, I'm short. I have to stand on my tiptoes. Hi, I'm Felix. This is Braden, and we have, beautiful, thank you, Jose. And we have another person in our group, Mare, who couldn't be here tonight. So we were working on, we started out thinking we were going to look just at coral bleaching by depth, but as our previous group mentioned, there's a coral disease going around, stony coral tissue loss disease, also known as Skittle D, that has been affecting the corals in Bonaire significantly. So we ended up focusing on just looking at like healthy versus diseased corals by depth.
Yeah, so within the island, they actively do kind of categorize the sites of depth by kind of like a color coding system. So they have like red, where it's gonna be a lot of like stony coral tissue disease or kind of just a lot of bleaching in general. Then you have orange, which will have less than the red, and then you have green, which is supposedly supposed to have none. So our project kind of was trying to see if there was like such a big difference within these sites and kind of seeing how much diseased coral is within these sites. So just kind of looking at that, and basically our technique was kind of diving twice a day just at these two different sites. We chose a red site and we chose an orange site just to see the difference, and then kind of diving every day, which was amazing, but also kind of hard because you have to kind of get things in frame and you want to make sure all the pictures look the same for analysis. So that was probably the most difficult part. We ended up using a flagpole actually underwater, which kind of gave us a good distance and a good gauge on where we needed to be. But yeah, so just kind of looking at the whole entire area of diseased versus healthy coral within those two different sites and just kind of analyzing that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. As I mentioned before, during our trip, I also did some research on Bonaere's music. We went to one of the performances for the Dia del Rincón celebration, where we all had the opportunity to experience Bonaere's exciting music. Dia del Rincón is an event, has been happening for over 30 years now, where people from Bonaere celebrate their cultural heritage with local food, music, and dancing. We all listened, sang, and danced. You can even imagine. It was so great. It was invigorating. There have been some musicians from which later on during the trip, during the second week, I had the opportunity to take a private lesson. They learned about the Criollo music. Never heard it about before. And I went to my lesson, and we talk about their instruments, we talk about musical forms and traditional rhythms. Our next piece is kind of a medley where we'll play part of a chart, 5M, and then we're going to incorporate Criollo music from Bonaere in the middle of the piece, okay? We're going to try to do that. One more thing. As we were going to scuba dive every day, one of the instructions from Dr. DeStasio was, you guys remember? He was like, yeah, you need to go 60 feet deep for 40 minutes, right? He would say, remember, 60 and 40. So I wrote a call and response verse where you hear us singing Criollo, which is the music, Criollo, bailo, I dance, Criollo, and I sing, or canto Criollo, 60 and 40, nama, no more. So it's Criollo, bailo, canto, Criollo, 60 and 40, no more. That's the verse. So I hope that you enjoy this piece, and please feel free to dance and sing if you like. So here we go. Here's 5M Calypso and Criollo music from Bonaere. Thank you. Thank you. Before we play our last piece, I would like to say some thank yous. So I want to thank our sound engineer, Brent Howard, for the sound tonight. And Tai Chi, back there. Big, 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 super extra big thank you to Albina Tan for putting all these videos and photos together. Albina, you're amazing. To our Dean of the Conservatory, Brian Pearl, Provost Peter Bressing, and our President, Lottie Carter, for the continued support with our academic programs in the college and the conservatory. Thank you. Dr. DeSasio and Dr. Piasecki for their mentorship, friendship, and from bringing this amazing experience into my life. This is unforgettable. So, thank you. Thank you. All the students in the marine biology program, they have been so welcoming and inspiring to me. They opened their heart and their classroom for me to go there and listen to the lectures, and I have learned so much from them. So thank you, students. I also want to thank this incredible, amazing group of young musicians. This is the Lawrence University Jazz Band. They work independently, putting this music together when I was in Bonaire for 2 weeks. They work by themselves. And then when I came back, I was here one day, and then I went to Muskego for another week to work, play concerts and other stuff. So for 3 weeks, they work on this music, and when I came back, it was amazing. So I am humble for the love and passion for music and life. Thank you, guys. I also want to recognize seniors. So seniors, please stand up. They are Gabe Reyes on saxophone, John Stetcher on trumpet, Ryan Saladin on trombone, Leah Cookman on bass trombone, Kate Stenson on voice and violin, Dylan Barrage on piano, and Dylan Cobley on guitar. It's been amazing working with them. And then one more thing, just to remind you that next Wednesday, same time, 8 o'clock, the Lawrence University Jazz Ensemble will be playing their concert under the direction of Patty Darling. So I hope to see you all of you right here next Wednesday. Okay, so our next guest is Associate Professor of Trumpet at Lawrence University. He will be retiring from Lawrence University this year, and we are going to miss him so much. It's been such an honor working with him, one of my best friends, an amazing trumpet player both in classical and jazz, so he's going to be missed here. I hope that you enjoyed the concert tonight and the lecture. Thank you, everybody, for being here again, and please help me welcome to the stage Mr. John Daniel. John Daniel. Professor Bart DiStasio. Professor Brian Piasecki, students from the Marine yeah, come on up. Come up, come up. Come on, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing, amazing experience. This is what college of liberal arts, education should be, and I'm so honored to be part of this institution. Thank you. You can leave until you see the last video that we have for you. Actually, this was going to be a surprise, but because I have so much love and respect for him, I actually went and I told him, and I asked him permission to do this. And he was like, okay, go ahead. So, Eli? Check it out.
I got a great angle. Yep.
Make sure your air's on. His air's, you're all buckled in? Everything buckled? Did you do buddy check?
It's too late.
Oh, you're right for it.
Even that he was teaching us to do, we had the option of go down, there was like a stairway to go down to the ocean. He said, you can do that, or you can cliff jump. And we were like, what? It's like 6 to 8 feet, right? And you have to be careful doing that. And he said, I'll show you how to do that. And he went and he did it, and it was amazing. I thought that was going to be like a really amazing closer for the concert. So thank you, Bart and Brian, for everything that you do for us and students and jazz band, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you.